Jaya baba. Kute kusuka khona lapho kwathi kuthiwa sebegephile khona lapho kwathi kuthiwa bengeniswa khona lapho bengeniswa kuthiwa ngenani linjalo khona lapho. Kute kunjalo babe duhlula belokho benjalo khona lapho.
Wathi sithi phambili ngo-RG Robert Mugabe. Phansi ngama-distance.
The one-party state. The dissident party and its dissident father are both destined not only for rejection but for utter destruction as well.
Now, this week we are in Bulawayo and we are talking politics, people and power. We are getting to understand some of the issues that are affecting the people in the southern region of this country, their concerns and why they should be taken serious. Now, this is the Free Talk in power partnership with the Frederick Newman Foundation for Freedom, Ibizolami, Gamalami, Blessed Mhlanga, Darabi, and I'll be in conversation with the Mthwakazi Republic Party. Join me just after this break. Welcome back to this episode of the Free Talk in proud partnership with the Frederick Newman Foundation for Freedom. I, your host as usual, Dara B, and I am in conversation this evening with the Mtwakazi Republic Party spokesperson, Velile Mo. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mhlanga.
Beautiful. Now, people, have come into contact with the Mtwakazi Republic Party.
Yeah.
Some, as news of the arrest of your members, have filtered through, and some have just heard about you, and we have never hosted you on this platform. So now, I think it would be fair for us to start by the introduction of what is Mtwakazi Republic Party and its ideologies.
Okay, thank you very much, and greetings to all the viewers. As he has already indicated, my name is Velile Moyo, the spokesperson of Mtwakazi Republic Party and also the Secretary for Information and Publicity. Here in standing, I am representing our party, MRP, commonly known as MRP. Some call it Mtwakazi, but in full it's Mtwakazi Republic Party. Our party was formed in 2014, 11 January 2014, and it was launched here in Bulawayo. Precisely what motivated or what influenced the formation of the party as the political terrain that we find ourselves in as a region, especially here in Matabeleland. So when we talk of Mtwakazi, basically we are referencing the region of Matabeleland and part of Midlands, that is Matabeleland South and Matabeleland North. So when we looked at the challenges that we are facing as the people, we evaluated the political terrain in the country and we looked at our situation, and then we needed to find a solution for our troubles. And then here's the formation of the party, Mtwakazi Republic Party. Ours is a revolutionary party. Specifically, we are pushing a revolution that is revolutionizing the political field within Matabeleland or within Mtwakazi as a way to address the inequalities, the marginalization and the challenges that the people of the region are going through under Zimbabwe. So basically I can simply say our first priority is to push for the ability for our people to determine what happens within their lives, within their areas, within their jurisdiction. So precisely from our ideological point of view, we are fighting to ensure that our people have got control over their own area, their own territory, to be able to determine what happens within that territory.
Define to me what you mean when you say our people. Who exactly are our people?
When we talk of Mtwakazi as a region or as a people, this is a collective of different dialects or different ethnic groups, ranging up to about 12 to 13 somewhere there. Of course, it has not been made so known to everyone that Mtwakazi is a collective, is a rainbow nation that is a collective of so many people. We talk of different languages: Kalanga, Ndebele, Soto, Venda, Tonga, Nambia. It's quite a collective of a lot of them. So when we're talking of our people, we're talking of the people that constitute the region, the people that are in the region.
This excludes Shona?
Shona has always been there. I may not say it has always been there, but it is part of the people that are in Matabeleland. As I can reference that, there are a lot of people that grew up here in Bulawayo that are Shona. So precisely when we are talking of Mtwakazi, we're talking of the people that are within the region, that live within the region.
You've been accused of, or you have said you're secessionist. You would want to remove the Matabeleland and part of Midlands from the rest of Zimbabwe. Let's talk about that.
All right. It may be an issue of the terms that we use, but what we stand for, the self-determination of our people. There may be a lot of names that may come to collaborate with the idea that is on the ground, but the basic ideology that drives our intentions is the self-determination of our people. The ability, what I mentioned before, the ability for us to control what belongs to us.
You don't control it right now?
We don't control.
What is it exactly that you want to control?
When we talk of a people, basically from any other perspective of the world, when we talk of a people, hence in Zimbabwe's context, we have got Matabeleland, we have got Mashonaland, then we've got Midlands, we've got Manyikaland, right? In its own original application, it tells you a lot that it has more to do with the land. So we're not talking of us, the people of Matabeleland, the people of Mtwakazi, because if I say Matabeleland, it's like I'm leaving Midlands, but there's a part of Midlands that is involved. That's why we use Mtwakazi. The issue has to do more with the land. Who is in control of the land? Who is in control of what is happening within the land? The land is a collective of so many things because everything is on the land. We talk of buildings, we talk of infrastructure, everything is on the land. The person
who is in charge and control of that land that you talk about, the Matabeleland Midlands that you prefer to call Mtwakazi, is a president that you elected, President Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa. Doesn't that give you control?
For him,
he's the one who's in control, and you elected him as a collective, as Zimbabwe.
Of course, I get the perspective where you're coming from. We are still in the context of Zimbabwe. And in any way, we are referenced with Zimbabwe. We are referenced with Emmerson Mnangagwa because the president of Zimbabwe. Right? But it doesn't necessarily mean that you are in agreement with everything that is happening. That's why we are seeking an alternative to say, how best can we look at the challenges that we are going through, despite the fact that there is a collection of a government that is called the Zimbabwean government, but there are still challenges within the Zimbabwean government.
So what you're challenging is the Zimbabwean government failure to deal with Matabeleland Midlands issues, or you want to have your own country and call it Mtwakazi Republic. What exactly are you looking
at? There are many defining factors. For a people to belong, basically, there needs to be some element of certification. If I can say I belong to Zimbabwe, then I must surely say I belong in Zimbabwe, and I must be confident and proud about it. To get the point. So for people to come to a point whereby they are saying, I no longer want to belong to Zimbabwe, you should question you to a certain extent and say, why are these people coming up with such a question? Like you mentioned in the beginning that you are a secessionist party, but specifically we're a restorationist party because we're trying to restore basically the dignity of our people, to restore what used to be a long time ago, historically, though I would want to dwell more on the historic element because history is evolving every day. Things keep changing, but history becomes a reference to say what has been happening in the past? Is it repeating itself? Are we building a nation as Zimbabwe? Oh, there's some exclusion of other people. So to a certain extent, I can simply say we are living under Zimbabwe, but we're not satisfied with the conditions as we are living under Zimbabwe.
I've spoken to a number of people,
Yes.
and they're all not satisfied about what's happening in Zimbabwe. I have been in Manicaland, I've been in Mashonaland, I've been in Midlands, in Matabeleland. Everyone is not satisfied, but that's not reason enough to want to walk out from a country that is Zimbabwe and create a new country that you'd call the Mthwakazi.
Yeah. The point that you're driving at is a collection of different challenges that Zimbabwe is going through, including the issues that are affecting Mtwakazi. Them being of a separate nature altogether. The rest of the other challenges are also of a separate nature. Then we need to do some separation and say, what are the challenges that Zimbabwe is facing? If I can ask you as well, and say, what are the challenges that Zimbabwe is facing? You'll discover that the foundational element of Zimbabwe is the one that is a problem. We have a problem of the foundational element of Zimbabwe. The foundations of Zimbabwe are the ones that are instigating all these other things that you see. These are the fruits. So if we can deal with them collectively, we might as well not be taking charge, or we might as well not be dealing with the issues that are affecting
What are the
Zimbabwe.
particular issues, Mr. Moya? Because I want to know the particular issues and peculiar issues that you believe the people that you lead would rather not have a Zimbabwe, but two different countries.
It's a given. It goes back to the systematic element of Zimbabwe, structural systematic element of Zimbabwe. Yes, Zimbabwe from 1980 has been building a nation, or it has been segregating, marginalizing other regions. I'm talking about Matabeleland as a region, including Midlands. That is Mtwakazi.
You feel marginalized?
You feel marginalized.
In which areas?
All areas. All areas. You can name it. From the economic perspective, from the social perspective. What's so important about Matabeleland in Zimbabwe? Besides it being just another region that exists within the context of Zimbabwe, where's the development within Matabeleland? Name it. All the things that you can see here were left by the Smith regime. What has the government done? I need to mention that because I'm saying this is causative. We're looking at an element whereby Zimbabwe itself has failed to address herself. Right? So when people are raising their voices, they're highlighting the issues that are affecting the country, which has to do with the foundation. We see the cracks on the walls. Then you must point to the foundation. If the foundation has got an error, the quarry has got an error, then the building is definitely going to go through some cracks. So the cracks that you see here in Zimbabwe, including what you mentioned in Mashonaland, in Manicaland, and everywhere, are a problem of the foundation. If you go back to 1980, and you look at the Unity Accord element that was initiated in 1987 through the coming together of ZAPU and ZANU, forming ZANU-PF. Forming ZANU-PF. If you look at it from a genuine point of view, that will tell you a lot about the foundations where Zimbabwe is built. Zimbabwe is not built on the right foundation. That's the problem.
Just give me your confidence, get into my confidence, and tell me what is wrong about the foundation. Because if you just say that the foundation is wrong, then people won't understand. I want you to be able to spell out exactly what is the challenge. Name it.
The challenge that Zimbabwe is going through, as I've mentioned, that is basically the foundational challenges. That's why we have got a rift between Mashonaland and Matabeleland. It tells you that this is backdating on issues that Zimbabwe failed to address. In the work of independence, you can see even from the era of fighting colonialism in Zimbabwe, you can see that it was a divided nation altogether. There was the force from this side and there was a force from that side. Well, we can mention that there were some people here and there. But the fact of the matter, it is self-explanatory that Zimbabwe was fought from two fronts. Zimbabwe was fought from, Zimbabwe, the colonization of Zimbabwe was fought from two fronts. Right, this actually should tell you something. And then in the long run, in the process, during the events there, people started to segregate. People started to separate themselves. They belong. I belong in Mashonaland. I belong in Matabeleland. They started to divide themselves. They started to divide the country. Even the institution of the Gukurahundi, when it was coming to Matabeleland, it would tell you that it has to do more with building Zimbabwe on top of a certain foundation. And the foundation came right on the brink of the independence. From 1981-82, Gukurahundi started, lasted for 7 years, and then they told that was a moment of madness. Lasting for 7 years. That was a strategic reorientation of the people of Matabeleland. Precisely then it tells you that there was a problem already existent between Mashonaland and Matabeleland. That needed to be addressed. So if there was a nation that needed to be built, that nation was supposed to be built on a right platform, on a right foundation. Right from the onset, after the war, fighting the colonialists, they were supposed to be sitting down, just like in South Africa. There was a COPAC. They sat down. Is it a COPAC? Am I right? They sat down, right? They called everyone. All political parties come together on the table. Church leaders, traditional leaders, and then they said what you want. When they all said what you want is a united South Africa. Someone say maybe let's have KZN alone. Let's have the Cape alone. But people agree to say, okay, let's build what we want. A rainbow nation in South Africa. Then they built a rainbow nation and said they don't have an issue of tribalism in South Africa because they agreed to co-unite and coexist together. There is no agreement in Zimbabwe. There is only that fictitious unity accord that was signed. It's just a 1-page or 2-page unity accord, whereby Nkomo had to sign it because the people materially were dying. Therefore, you had to go and sign that unity accord as a way to stop the killings of the people. What was the reason for the killing of the people in Matabeleland? That was a serious existential threat for the people of Matabeleland. Nkomo had to stop it by signing the unity accord to say, okay, let's have a level ground. But initially it was supposed to happen early in 1880 when they were coming into independence to say, no. We understand we are of different orientations altogether. We're coming from different backgrounds. Maybe what we need now is to see, can we build a country? Then they sit down together and say, yes, we can build a country. We can co-unite. That's why if you go back to the historic events, you can see that there was some time when Nkomo was asked to sign Matabeleland alone. They advised him to say, sign for Matabeleland as a country and then leave Zimbabwe alone. Those are the options, but Nkomo said, I'm a unifier, I want everyone to be one. But Nkomo was actually not cognizant of the fact that there are other people that are not intentional about unifying everyone. They wanted to go ahead with the divided nation.
Well, you speak about Matabeleland versus Mashonaland. Is it actually an issue of Matabeleland versus Mashonaland, or it's an issue of the people who lead this country? Because I will talk to people in Mashonaland who do not believe that Gukurahundi was the right way to start building this nation. They're hurt by it. And if you then say Matabeleland versus Mashonaland, it appears as if the people in Mashonaland were also part and parcel of this Gukurahundi and were supporting it.
Mthwakazi, you bring a very important point, per se. But there is one revolutionary statement that says, when the majority begins to stand up and fight for the minority, then I can believe in unity. For now, the people of Matabeleland do not have the confidence. You are the people in Mashonaland are the majority, right? You are saying there are people that are hurt, but when have we heard them talking?
Haven't you heard them being beaten up and being killed during elections? Reports have shown in 2008 during the presidential runoff, yes, in Manikale, people were beaten, people were displaced, raped, people were killed in Bindura, Chipadze Stadium, for instance. Blood was shed for the purposes of power by the same people that you accuse of having caused Gukurahundi.
You heard what I said. I said it's a revolutionary statement. When the majority people stand up for the minority people, get into their shoes, get to where they are affected, then that's when we can talk unity. I've never seen movements from Mashonaland in advocacy for what happened in Matabeleland. It's us, the people of Matabeleland, standing up, fighting for things that happened 40 years ago. Then you can tell me that there's unity. I don't think so. It's a structural problem. It's a systematic problem. It's a foundational problem. That's why even if you see people that are beneficiaries of the systematic challenges that people of Mtwakazi are going through, they do not speak out because they are benefiting out of it, because it has been made a common cause to say the people of Mashonaland are first-class citizens, the people of Mashonaland are second-class citizens. Therefore, automatically, even if you are given the benefit against me as a person from Mtwakazi, you will speak out and fight on my behalf. You will rather go ahead with the benefit. Where has been the people of Mashonaland for the past 40 years to defend the people of Mtwakazi? Where were they? What you're talking about, the killings in 2000 and so on, is because the majority people in Mashonaland have failed to stand up for justice. They say injustice anyway is injustice everywhere. So when you decide not to stand up for justice for other people, do you expect justice is going to happen to you? What ZANU-PF is doing is exactly what it was doing in 1980. No one held ZANU-PF accountable. And they made that a tribal issue. And tribalism bought into that, and tribalism is playing out now. Then it points back to the foundation that I spoke about, to say the issues that are affecting us are foundational.
Do you think that you would be making the issues better by calling for Mthwakazi Republic, or you are widening the rift, the abyss that already yawns between tribes and classes of people?
What more could we have done? The people of Mtwakazi have been very patient since the dawn of the Gukurahundi. They've been very patient. And we are one of the people that have been very inclusive. We're in Mtwakazi, people in Mashonaland have been coming and have been inclusive enough to accept them and live with them. But we've been doing that.
Everywhere in Zimbabwe, there's inclusion.
I'm being particular because we're discussing Mtwakazi. I'm being particular to say we have been patient. We hope that the reigning government is going to say, but what we are here for is building a nation. What can we do to build a nation? But they keep on making excuses. Nobody can make an excuse about Gukurahundi. You see, it was a moment of madness. While these thousands of people were killed, even right now, there are shallow graves where there are bones of people that were killed. But they're still making something. They also never made an excuse in Switzerland. He said, let bygones be bygones. He is doing this out of pressure, not because he's willing to do it. That's why we are questioning the foundations. There is no genuinity in all this. Emerson Mnangagwa is doing it for political reasons. He's not doing it because it's genuine, because building a nation. He's doing it for political expedience.
But the chiefs that represent you, the chiefs, your chiefs, traditional chiefs, have accepted and have met with President Emerson Mnangagwa.
They have not accepted. I know a lot of chiefs who are not buying into this whole thing. It's a mess. But they have no option. This is Zimbabwe. You jump in or you ship out. You oppose them, they kill you. It's a fact. We cannot be beating about the bush and 8 years if we don't know what's happening in Zimbabwe. That's why the problems in Zimbabwe keep on happening. Because we want to sugarcoat things and act as if we don't know what the problem is. When the chiefs disagree with the directive, they're definitely going to be eliminated. Simple. We know. We talk to them. We know. They will just have to dance to the tune. Because they know what's going to happen. It's not an issue of discussion. We know that.
You have had influential people leading this government coming from Mtwakazi. You have had people like Joshua Nkomo.
Yes.
Now you have KCD Mohadi, who is a whole vice president. You have had a number of people coming from this region. Surely they should be changing things.
I can give credit to Nkomo, Joshua Nkomo, Dr. Joshua Nkomo. I can only give credit to Dr. Joshua Nkomo because I can safely say the man fought for unity. The man fought for inclusive nation building. That's one man I can safely say he indeed was a statesman. I don't know those others that you're mentioning. I don't know what they're doing. I have never seen any positive results for what they're doing. They're only there as placeholders. That's why they are always given the second, third position. If we are president, you say that we are president number 3. What happened to Mpogo? Mpogo was supposed to be the president when Mugabe was disposed. But what happened to Mpogo was Mpogo was thrown out of the place, and then later on, this Mohati you're talking of is the third president. What's there for a third president? Isn't that just a way to say there was an agreement during 1987 that we always have a ZAPU and a ZANU person in presidents. But what are they doing? They're useless. I cannot beat up on the bush. They're useless. They're just people that are placed there for the sake of the unity that was arranged. But they will never be given power to act. They will never get that power. It's impossible.
How do you think, going forward, that Zimbabwe can be brought together, that it becomes one nation and build better than South Africa, the rainbow nation you talk about? We, from a Tribalism, from a Shonaland, from a Nikaland, all people are one and working together, building a same nation. What do you think should be done?
I think it goes back to the issue I raised when we started. That the problem of Zimbabwe is the foundation. When you see the cracks, point to the foundation. If they really need to build a nation, they must go back to the foundation. Call everyone. If they're serious about building a nation, call everyone. They shouldn't call us people that are unpatriotic because we are fighting for our rights. It's wrong. You can also build a nation when someone is raising their challenges, you say they're unpatriotic. Then you want to come up with a patriotic bill to say, when I go out and tell people that Zimbabwe is abusing me, then I have to be arrested. You get the point? They are not addressing the issues. What they are trying to do here with this Gukurahundi issue, they are sugarcoating. That thing is not going to end now. It's not going to end now because they are not genuine in their approach. Blood was shed here. A lot of people were killed. Then if they have to go back to building a nation, they must go back to the fundamentals. There needs to be some atonement that happens. People need to be compensated. A lot needs to be done, and then we come back and say, what do you want to build? We are now together. We are facing the same direction. We are all facing the same vision. So what do you want to do? But as long as they are trying to do this politically and all these things that they are doing, to us, it's just a waste of time, because you cannot tell me 40 years of been failing to come up with a solution of building a nation. And then you want to address it when it is becoming too much. When people are standing up and they are fighting. And then other people put pressure on you and say, now I have to address Gukurahundi. Emerson was in the government since 1980. There's one person who should know better. Because even during that time, he's the one who was the state security intelligence, minister. He knows everything well. He knows what happened.
Some of your members have been arrested.
Yes.
Some have been jailed.
Yes.
You keep doing this in the face of this. Why?
That's what I'm saying. It's a revolution. It's an issue that you cannot stop. When the tide of the revolution is waging, you can arrest people, you can kill people, but you can't kill the revolution. That's one fact about it. I may be speaking now, I may be eliminated. Someone can come in my shoes. It never stop until the problem is rightly addressed.
How long do you think it's going to take?
I don't think it's possible. With the level of governance that we see in Zimbabwe, with the level, the perpetration of human rights abuses that we see in Zimbabwe, I don't think so. We're far from it. The rift is going to continue. As long as the issues are not addressed genuinely, the rift is going to continue.
Don't you think it would be better to take over governmental power through elections and then you be the ones to be able to address it than to separate the nation?
It goes back to the statement that I said. When the majority stand up for the minority, then it's genuine reformation. It's genuine revolution. What I'm saying here is I should fight for my problems. And it's none of the other people's business.
No, I'm saying, why don't you become president of the country?
Look at it. The voting patterns in Zimbabwe will tell you that the people of Mashonaland will never vote for a person of Mtwakazi as a president. I'm not blaming all the people in Mashonaland, but I'm blaming the system that created that mentality. Because the people of Mashonaland don't believe that Ndebele can lead them. Even if you go to any institution right now, go to Mthwakazi, go everywhere, even institutions that are here in Mtwakazi, and go and ask for the director you will see a Shona person is the director, the vice is a Ndebele person. Lower management, Ndebele people. High top management are Shona people. It's institutionalized. Go Hillside College here. Go and find out the recruitment processes and everything and how it's done. Go and find out who's recruiting and everything. You see that it's a Shona person. It's systematic. People are marginalized systematically. That's the fact. So it's an entrenched system.
I know the biggest privately owned media house in Zimbabwe. Alpha Media Holdings.
Yes.
Run by Blawayo boy.
Yes.
Trevor Nwe.
Yes.
I know Zinara. The CEO is from Blawayo. I know the chief executive of Hotel is from Blawayo. This is a people. And you're talking about systematic.
You are counting one here and there. Maybe you cannot count up to 10, up to 20. You may have one here and there. It's still okay to buy face. But I'm talking about issues that has to do with Matabeleland. Even provincial institutions, some of them are run from people from Mashonaland. You talk of district administrators. A person who is from Mashonaland comes and becomes a district administrator right deep in Kezi, right deep in Binga. Does it make sense? I'm not even talking about urban. I'm talking rural areas, the district in rural areas. The district administrator is someone from Mashonaland. Does that make sense? How much does he know about the district and the developments of the districts? It's systematic. That person is strategic. They look at places where there are minerals, they look at places where there are resources. They strategically as a person to be in charge of the offices. When it comes to licenses, issuing of licenses, issuing of opportunities, they're taken away from people from Matabeleland, they're given to people from Mashonaland. It's systematic, strategically.
Is it about, I'll come back to that question again.
Yeah.
Is it about Mashonaland, or it's about people who are in power, who are using their own cronies? Because if you walk into Manicaland right now, people in Manicaland will tell you that when there were Dynamos in Chiazo, they didn't benefit anything from it. They went to cronies. So, are you sure when you say people from Mashonaland are being taken, are you sure it's people from Mashonaland or it's people from certain clansmen or cronies who are related to those in power? I want us to talk about that part.
It may be a systematic element that has developed its own cousins and nephews, but the foundation, of course, is one. The colonial element of divide and rule is what the ZANU-PF government bought into. They institutionalized it, they're using it, and it's working for them. The people of Manicaland, the Chiazwa Damos, they did not benefit. It's systematic. People in Manicaland are crying about people coming from other regions taking up the same way it is happening in Matabeleland. Whereas some people are supposed to be standing up and fighting for their own rights, just like what we're doing here in Matabeleland.
So what country would it then be? Because those in Manicaland would then say, we want a Manicaland Republic Party. Here you want a Mthwakazi Republic. Mashonaland would then say, Mashonaland West would want our own. Mashonaland East our own. What nation would that be?
It goes back to what I said, the foundations. Just like South Africa. 50 million people coexisting together, calling each other brothers and sisters, because they have a proper foundation. The proper foundation. If these things begin to happen, it cannot be my problem. It's the problem of the foundation. The cracks are the problem of the foundation. So it cannot be blamed on me why I'm standing up to say I want to be out of Zimbabwe. Because Zimbabwe decided not to build a nation, but to build a country.
You were not there when Gukurahundi happened, were you?
I was young and I saw it. My mother survived because I was young. When others were being killed and beaten, she had to pick me up because I was crying. She had to pick me up and then I had to go. Otherwise, my mother was going to be killed, including myself. I saw it. Even if I was young, it's clear on my mind. I saw it right through when I was young. When I was beaten, sleeping down here, they were being beaten. I was crying. I cried a lot until they said, "Well, Mama, take up your child and go to get it." That thing still rings on my mind because I know, even if I was young, it's recorded here. When we talk of it, I can imagine, I can view the soldier standing up beating my parents. I saw it.
How do you think that this could be healed in your mind and the minds of many who today, when you speak to them, have no birth certificates, have no access to education because they don't have someone who can come and say, this child belongs to this client?
It goes back to the issue of taking initiative. What we are raising here as the people of Matabeleland are issues of concern. Unfortunately, it's falling onto deaf ears. And looking at what is happening, that's why I'm saying a span of 40 years is a lot. If Zimbabwe was really serious about building a nation, a span of 40 years is a lot. We should be far by now. It only dawned. We saw the Gukurahundi issue and then we were tolerant with it. It was an error. It was an era of the times. But then we started to see Gukurahundi being manufactured in different forms. I said, the genocide now, economic genocide, social genocide, all these things are now piling up. That means that Gukurahundi was intentional and it's going on, is reforming and coming in different forms. And of course, they can come now and bring a brigade and say, go and kill the people materially. But now they are instituting, bringing it in new faces. When I am economically marginalized, isn't that a genocide? It's economic genocide. I'm still facing a social threat just because right now, as we're talking, how many people of Matabeleland are outside of the country? In South Africa alone, we've got maybe close to 3 million of our people living in South Africa. Talking of the people that were displaced since independence. Some of them were displaced during Gukurahundi. They weren't there, they have naturalized there in South Africa, they're living there. They wish to come back home one day. They're not identified. I'm talking of someone who failed even to go to school. I'm talking of someone who cannot find a job because does not have any paper to identify. I know a lot of people have been in South Africa. I've met a lot of guys that is living in the streets that do not have even a single form of a paper. They tell you that I never saw my mother, never saw anyone. I grew up like a vagabond, ended up going to South Africa. I failed in South Africa because they don't have papers. I ended up living in the streets doing Yahupe. Those are ongoing genocide. It's an ongoing genocide. A soft genocide that is happening with our people. We're still facing existential threat. That's the challenge. That's the fundamental element of us revolutionizing the whole element and saying, no, we cannot be subservient anymore. We are standing up to face the music. If they're killing us, they kill us. If they arrest us, they arrest us. But we need to make this known that we, the people of Matabeleland or the people of Mtwakazi, we are fed up with the systematic element that Zimbabwe created.
Are you emotional right now?
Of course, these issues are emotional in nature. Even if you talk to anyone, even if you talk to someone who is in ZANU-PF, who is masquerading as a ZANU-PF member, but deep down inside, they know they're not. We have a lot of them. Our fathers were ZAPU. They tell you that I'm only ZANU-PF because Nkomo left us there. Not because they are voluntary ZANU-PF. No. Deep inside, when you start to talk about these issues, they tell you that we hate so much the people of Mashonaland. They tell you, even if they're in ZANU-PF, I'm talking about people that are in ZANU-PF, they tell you that we hate Mashonaland so much. What they did to us. Because it's an emotional issue that has stayed for quite a long time and has become a generational element. It's not going to be stoppable. They should have just avoided this and dealt with it long time before it affects a lot of generations. Now, I am the one who is talking. I'm going to teach my child. My child is going to teach the child to hate Mashonaland. Because my father taught me to hate Mashonaland. It's a fact.
What if you decide right now to break the cycle of teaching your child to hate another person who was not there when this happened?
It's something that humanly we have the capacity to do that. But the conditions are not allowing. How do I assure my child that, my child, when you finish your A level, you get your 18 points, you are going to get a place at NAST? When my child will be rejected there at NAST, and then they will only be considered for those other courses. But someone will come all the way from deep down, National and West, down there, and they'll be given the first preference. How do I try to convince my child to say, no, don't? Because these things now we are seeing, it's no longer us. We are seeing them in school. We are seeing them in different places where children are playing. Not because we have taught them, but they have seen it with their own eyes, even if they are young as they are. So the cycle will continue like that as long as we do not have leadership that is prepared to build a nation, but leadership that are only focused on their own benefits. That's it.
Bulawayo used to be known as the place where the smoke comes because of industry. What is the status right now?
It's a mess. Because right now, there's not even any hope for an employment for anyone here. That's why if you go to Bulawayo, the city center, people are packed up there trying to sell airtime, sell this and this, because they can't be employed anywhere. Our only hope now in South Africa, people can easily get employed in South Africa and get employed here in Zimbabwe. Bulawayo was an industrial hub. It used to be an industrial place, as they used to say it. Meaning there was a lot of factory, there was business. But you can mention now, all the companies, they've relocated.
Why are you allowing the companies to go?
That's the systematic power that I'm talking of, based on the political powers. They do it. Do you question? Or they do it? Do they negotiate with you? Or they do it? They've taken over the industry. Even if you say it, what would you? A few months ago, we were talking about the issue of decommissioning ZESA. They were trying to decommission a certain plant there in ZESA, and that plant is employing quite a lot of people. So, go to the industrial area there in Bulawayo, go Pansing up, go, what do you call this place? By Plant Road to Setusiare. It used to be an industry. People were busy, they were employed, they were riding bicycles going to the industry. We knew that our fathers were employed. But all those industries, without mentioning maybe for the white people that maybe for other reasons they had to be deprived of their rights. But even the parastatals themselves that used to employ a lot of people, they are not employing anyone up to today. Look at NRZ, look at ZESA, look at CSC, look at all of them. Some were transferred to Harare. They are headquartered now in Harare. But the factors of what to call this, the factors that constitute that industry are found here in Matabeleland. Talk of Lupane. Lupane is a derivative from Lupane, Ipane, meaning it's wood today that has been transferred to Harare. They come here, they just chop the wood, they go the Lupane company or Lupane timber is in Harare, but it's a Lupane timber. How do you take Lupane timber and take it to Harare? Can't material process wood? Can the government bring machinery and put an industry in Lupane there and employ the people of Lupane? They decide to say, you people of Lupane are going to keep looking at these timbers and then we'll come and collect and then we'll go. I'm talking of industry that being transferred to Harare. But we thought maybe Bulawayo is going to be industrial hub and then Harare is going to be a commercial hub, which was going to be making sense because it will be part of contributing holistically to the development of a nation. But they've decided to make sure that we remain destitute and desperate. And then take everything.
Isn't the constitution of Zimbabwe has come up with the devolution concept, and it said that this is what Zimbabwe is going to look like. We devolve power, we devolve industry, and we ensure that everybody benefits and plays a role in building this nation. Aren't you seeing it?
I've seen it on paper. Actually, it's the first open and close. The first open and close, is a Zimbabwe unitary thing. And then down there on the devolution clause, it simply says we are going to institute devolution when the right time comes. No one knows when that right time come is going to be when. Because that constitution was adopted somewhere there in 2013, if I'm not mistaken, 2012 or 2013. That's when it was voted in, adopted. But now it's 2024. We're talking of 10 years plus. But there's no devolution. The only time you hear of devolution is when they say funds, devolutionary funds from the president. No, we don't need that. We need to control our resources. We need to define what happens with what we get from Matabeleland. We don't need money, you collect money here, it goes to Harare, then you bring it and say it's devolution fund. That is nonsense. That's nonsense that we cannot even talk about. They give us that RTGS, they collect gold, they collect USD, then they give us that RTGS and tell us it's a devolution fund. Devolution fund for what? From the president. Devolving what? What devolution that we want is a full devolution, whereby we have a full government running Matabeleland, where we know that all the resources from Matabeleland are developing Matabeleland. That's what devolution should be.
How does it be a country? How does it become a country if all resources from Matabeleland are developing Matabeleland, and maybe the other part of the country is richer than the other part? How do you balance that?
The issue is resources from Matabeleland must benefit people of Matabeleland. You cannot take resources from Matabeleland and develop other areas leaving Matabeleland undeveloped. Then if you are able to say, okay, there are mines here. Let's see that all these mines contribute to the infrastructure of the road. You cannot say, oh, you mines, can you contribute all the money you want to go and develop in Harare? Doesn't make sense. When you live in a road in potholes in Matabeleland, in blanket mine somewhere there, it doesn't make sense. Do you understand? So it must be proportionate. What I'm simply saying is, people should be able to govern and determine what happens within their territories. Not someone from Harare telling people in Matabeleland what to do with what is happening in Matabeleland. If we are to talk about building a country, then we need a totally different system from what is happening now. Because this one is not working, it's not going to work. Simple, it's not going to work.
Who do you think is possibly have the ability to change what we see today, to bring in a new, fresh set of ideas?
What we have realized is that the school of ideology is one. Whether it's the ruling party or the opposition, the school of ideology is the one. Opposition, something.
But you're the opposition.
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm saying, I'm talking about opposition.
So you have the same idea?
Yes, I'm saying the ideology that is running in Zimbabwe. Mm-hmm. You get the point. The ideology that is running in Zimbabwe is one pitchcourt ideology that is influenced from somewhere, right? Where our opposition parties are being formed, either way, there will be a way to channel them to run according to a certain ideology, which may not be bad if the ideology is building the nation. We have an example of countries like China. They are well developed. They've got an ideology that is running, almost influencing everyone, including politics and opposition, to get the point. But they are using it for the development of their country. But in Zimbabwe, it is for the destruction. Even opposition parties, they come, they no longer build, they destroy. They actually do the same thing that ZANU-PF is doing. So the ideology is the one that is a problem. The whole country. You form an opposition party today, is going to get into the same ideology, same thing with the other one, then you cannot expect any alternative that is going to come and address the issues of Zimbabwe. That's why you are now seeing a rift now beginning to crack. It's now exposing the very foundational challenges that this country is built on. So now the issue of democracy or dictatorship is now an issue of the foundational elements that are now reverberating and affecting the whole building.
So only ZANU-PF can correct its own mistakes?
I don't know if they will ever reform from their own mistakes. I don't think so. They look like they'll never reform themselves.
Because you say there's no alternative. So are we doomed as a people?
If there was an alternative, why are we failing to make any substantial change in Zimbabwe?
I thought you were an alternative.
Yes.
But you're saying...
But I'm failing. That's what I'm telling you. That we as opposed, I'm not excluding myself. I am saying we are built on a foundational era, including the ideological orientation in terms of politics. It's almost symmetrically the same. And it's affecting everyone. The unfortunate element of it is that the foundation was not pointing to the right direction. It was pointing to the wrong direction. Therefore, everyone who is trying to politically correct the issues, they end up correcting issues going in the wrong direction.
This year there's a...
Including us. Like we too, you spoke of why can't we become an alternative and replace what is there. The reason is the foundations are wrong. Even if you go there to the State House, we won't be able to do anything substantially to change anything. That's why we've decided to say we're not interested in so much in Zimbabwean elections, because from 1980 we've seen that Zimbabwean elections are not doing any change. They're not bringing any development. They're not bringing any change. It's all politics, and it's all about somebody, someone who actually planted a certain foundation which they're influencing everything to.
Mugabe could have died with Zimbabwe. Is that what you're saying?
Of course. It's only that age he had to take toll. But that man, he knew what he was doing. And his cronies.
We're facing a drought this year.
Yes.
What is the state of Matabeleland in terms of food provisions?
It's so pathetic as we are talking, because in the whole of Matabeleland, as we are talking right now, there is absolutely nothing. People did not even have a taste of a maize cob this year. And not to mention, there is nothing, there is no water. Some rivers are dry. Some water bodies are dry. It's so sad. And the unfortunate element of it is there are other areas where there is no alternative water against the normal natural water that you get from the rivers. That means there is a lot of attention that needs to be addressed in terms of addressing the issue of water. In terms of food security, I cannot even talk, because there is a serious challenge. But anyway, the people of Matabeleland have enjoyed this from quite a long time.
Government has said that it has got enough food to feed everyone. Do you have faith in that statement?
I heard that in the news yesterday when the GMP CEO, I'm not sure who was that, talking, saying there are some metrics tons and what of maize, meaning that there is enough maize to take care of the country. I don't think so. I really don't think so. I fail to understand where that maize will be actually coming from. Because even if you look at Mashonaland, where the region receives like a minimum, like proper rainfall often, but you can see this year that there is absolutely nothing. Most of the maize comes from Mashonaland. We do not have big farmers like maybe Zambia, where we've got big farmers that are producing maize. It's no longer there. It used to be a long time ago, but it's no longer there. So chance that there is enough maize, I don't think so. ZANU-PF has never said the truth. Probably they're just trying to make people not to panic. Maybe they have got another option, I don't know. But what they're saying, I don't think is true.
You eat meat, like?
Yes, we eat our meat. But you can't survive on meat. You see? So it's a big challenge. If there are no NGOs coming through, especially for Matabeleland, then there will be disaster, because already now people don't have anything from last year, right? People are now looking for maize. They're trying to buy maize. Maize is now costing around $10 a bucket, right? So can you imagine buying a $10 a bucket? And you're talking of people in rural areas who don't have an income. So those are the challenges that are coming with this drought that we're seeing. And we had hoped that maybe the rains are going to come, at least maybe other people who have got irrigations and so on, they might actually try to resuscitate here and there, but it looks like it's not promising.
To what extent do you think politics is going to be a factor in the feeding of the people who are hungry, especially in the rural parts of Matabeleland?
It's unfortunate that ZANU-PF create elements that, I'm trying to say ZANU-PF normally creates element that will make people to be subservient to them, and they use what is on the ground to gain advantage over the people. From where I come from, they were given. I come from Matabeleland. I come from Matopo here, right? So there was a day where they were coming to distribute this maize. And then they started to ring a note in the ears of the people, members of ZANU-PF, saying the person who won the election there is a CCC person. So they were saying, The person who is going to be distributing the maize for the people is the former councillor, who was the councillor the past period, not the CCC councillor who is incumbent now. So they were saying the person who is going to be distributing maize is going to be the former councillor, meaning ZANU-PF is going to be using that as a card. But it looked like those people for social grant and so on, they are clever enough, maybe they have realized that they were doing it themselves. They never gave anyone to be in charge of it. They had to distribute it themselves to the people. So if these NGOs and all these other people providing may at least try by all means to be in charge. But if they try to give it over to Abosopu and so on to be in charge, they definitely are going to exclude other people politically, because we know that it normally happens.
Are you worried about the use of food as a political weapon in the country and in the region in particular?
Yes, with the current situation where people are desperate for food, it's a worry, because it's who is providing. When the one who is providing seemingly becomes the king every time. And obviously the ruling party automatically claims to be the one that is providing, even if it's the NGOs, they claim to be the ones that are providing.
If there's no food, you blame the government for failure to provide. So what is the problem if ZANU-PF claims that is the one that is delivering the food?
Of course, it's a given fact that how possible is it from the political landscape of Zimbabwe for an opposition to be able to provide food for the people? It's the prerogative or is the duty of the governing party to provide relief for the people during the times of distress like this. It's a fact. It is their duty to provide, but they should not do it politically. They must do it for providing for people, not for political expedience.
Just to circle back a bit, just recently, Jesima Jome was appointed the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission chairperson.
Yes.
And this commission has been there. Is it useful in your view? Because it speaks to the grievances that you're talking about as Mtwakazi.
Yeah, we never know the move. ZANU-PF is always making chess moves. Whenever they make a placement, it's because they have calculated, they know how much is going to give them advantage. So with Mjomba, we don't know what she is there for. Probably is someone who has been strategically positioned, because when it comes to human rights, we need someone who is neutral. Definitely someone who is neutral, who's going to look at issues not according to who, but according to human rights.
So the fact that she was once a political player, leading a political party, where violence in some of instances was a major factor, reduces the confidence you have in her? Is that what you're saying?
It's unfortunate that mainly most issues in Zimbabwe, which are sponsored politically, they are influenced. Even if a person may be seen running a certain organization, to a certain extent we know the operational systems of Zimbabwe. They always make sure that they put someone who works towards their end in any given situation. I don't know why, but probably it's because they want to always run the narrative to ensure that they're in control of all the situations. So it's difficult to have confidence on someone specifically who has been appointed when you have a grievance against the appointer. You don't naturally gravitate to have confidence on that person, unless if it's a person that has been nominated by people saying we are all in agreement that this person is going to do the job.
Amazing. I want to thank you really for joining me here on this, the Free Talk, in proud partnership with the Frederick Newman Foundation, and for sharing your views. You know, it is important for Zimbabweans to understand where we are coming from and where we're going, so that we are able to talk to each other and find common footing. I strongly believe in a united Zimbabwe. I strongly believe in a people that will build one nation together. But in doing that, we cannot and we should not cover the pains of others under the carpet. We must talk to each other. We must find where it hurts, and we must solve it, so that together we build this better country. Because I strongly believe it's better. I strongly believe it can be bigger than we see it today. And our children who play together in class and school, unaware of our tribes or their tribes, we should give them that opportunity. If we can sit next, side by side, by people who colonized us, who killed our forefathers, who took our land and displaced us, and for years subjugated us and made us slaves in our own country, if we can sit next to them and work with them, why can't we? Those born and bred under the same baking sun that we see today and feel today, why can't we be one? But before I let you go, Velilemo, I will ask you to look at the people in the eye, the people of Zimbabwe, and speak to them on issues that I might not have asked, but you think and feel strongly that you should speak about. I'll give you this opportunity to do that.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Mhlang, for the opportunity to speak to the people and also for the opportunity to be here at Heart and Soul Broadcasting Services. I believe it is a broadcasting service that is projected on building and ensuring that this developmental element socially, economically, and in terms of even the politics of this country. And then to the viewers, as I was standing here, precisely on the ground of defending Mtwakazi, and as the spokesperson of Mtwakazi Republic Party, it is my duty to also make it known to each and every one of you that the cause that we are fighting or the cause that we are pursuing is a noble cause. It is a cause that is there, that cannot be denied, or that cannot be reversed, that cannot be altered. It's a principle, and the principle needs to be addressed according to the principle of a revolution. We are revolutionary, and our main objective, looking at the plight of our people, how much they've been marginalized within the context of Zimbabwe, how much they've been displaced, we saw it necessary to be a voice, especially of the voiceless and many of the people that have been subdued, and many of the people that have been silenced, especially when we look back in the historic events of this country, where many of our people were killed, were maimed during the time of the genocide of 1980s towards 1987, culminating in a UNITA code. We have not had full satisfaction with how Zimbabwe has structured itself as a nation in terms of building one country, building one nation. We still have a feeling that we are being marginalized. Probably historically there is a reason for that. We don't know. But we see it as an unfortunate and unfair event for people to run through generations being marginalized, feeling second-class citizens within a territory which they believe they are 100% belonging to that territory. So we ask for all those that feel and also have a feeling with what is happening in Matabeleland. Most people may not have been in Matabeleland or in Mtwakazi, they don't know what's happening. But if we have heard or we have known, we are advocating for people to stand in solidarity with the challenges that we are going through, to bring justice and justice during our lifetime. I thank you.
Amazing. Thank you very much, people of Zimbabwe, for joining us here on this, The Free Talk, in proud partnership with the Frederick Newman Foundation for Freedom. We believe that Zimbabweans should talk to each other and not through each other. Now, injustice somewhere is injustice everywhere. And those who remain neutral in the face of injustice have taken sides with the oppressor. The truth is something that we must all endeavor to speak. We must, as a people, deep down, feel the pain of others when They are under oppression, even if we are not. Leadership is being able to speak for those who don't have a voice. Here at HSTV, with proud partnership, the Frederick Newman Foundation for Freedom, we are leadership. We speak for everyone, and we allow everybody to be heard. This is Free Talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.